Okay.
Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and today we're going to talk about why Amy Schumer is right and Will Smith displayed toxic masculinity with his face slap of Chris Rock at the Oscars. And so we're going to talk about why that is. Have you seen, several of the other videos that we did talking about Will Smith and Jada, and I've been looking at and analyzing his body language, the tone of his voice. And so we're going to talk about why Amy Schumer is correct and what Will Smith has done was displaying toxic masculinity, meaning he was displaying beta male energy instead of alpha male energy. So beta male energy is the energy of being a coward. It's not going for the things you want. Alpha male energy is showing up. It's being dangerous. It's being courageous. It's going for the things you want. As a man, you either rise to the challenge or you shrink in cowardice. And that is Will Smith's problem in a nutshell. And what he revealed in one of the other videos that we were watching and we commented on previously was that he, and I've been talking about this in videos, where he's just basically like a little boy seeking mommy's approval. And even came right out and basically said as much. So Este's got some of the quotes here that she said, and then we're going to go and discuss.
Mm-hmm. During her first appearance since hosting the Oscars, Schumer said she didn't know what to say about the awards show, other than she had no jokes about it. And I quote, "I was kind of feeling myself, and then all of a sudden Ali was making his way up," she said.
Is that a reference to Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, because he played him, I believe, in one of the movies.
He played.
So she's breaking his balls.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's been doing, myself included.
So as the article is saying, according to the Hollywood Reporter, referring to Smith's role in the 2001 film in which he played boxer Muhammad Ali.
So Amy's continues on. She says, and it was just a fucking bummer. All I can say is that it was really sad. And I think it says so much about toxic masculinity. So to me, toxic masculinity is an absence of masculinity. That's what makes it toxic, because masculinity's role in society is to provide a container of safety so femininity can blossom and be safe to totally express itself. And so the problem with Will is he failed to do that. He displayed toxic masculinity just like his father displayed toxic masculinity in the household growing up when he was smacking around Will Smith's mother. And as he said, he felt like a coward growing up. So he literally, what you see with Chris Rock is he's acting out what he saw his dad do. But instead of smacking around mom, he was smacking around little Chris Rock. And that's why women, and you look at the reaction, the likes that I got, the views that I got my videos, universally, and what everybody else is saying is like everybody agrees, men and women across the world are like, that was toxic masculinity. It was a lack of masculinity. It was weakness. It was disgusting.
Contrary to what some people thought when people actually thought, oh, look at him going and standing up for his woman. But it was weakness because it was that trying to please mommy mentality. It wasn't, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to be your provider. Men provide, they protect. It wasn't protection. It was trying to earn approval.
Yep. Beta male behavior. That's what beta males do. They seek approval. It's the nice guy. I'll try to be your friend first. And then when she gets to see what a great guy I am, then I'll tell her how much I love her and we'll live happily ever after, like it happens in the movies. He's afraid to show up and be the man he's supposed to be and be the leader. And he's bitching out all the time. That's why she's appalled. And, this is Jada. And you just see it in the videos. The red table thing is like, she's disgusted by Will. She's disgusted by his lack of masculinity. And she wants more than anything for him to show up and finally be the fucking leader he can be. Like when you put her in her place about the fact when, I think it was early on in the relationship, he's like, I'm not going to do this yelling and screaming like I saw my parents do. And it's like, if you can't do that, I'm out. And she was stunned. The strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. And no one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. And so he's literally inviting this shit into his life over and over and over. And he just allows her to treat him like a doormat. But in all fairness, he's obviously not read this or is not a very good student. Anyway, what do you guys got?
I didn't want to ask because there might be other men who do the same thing like Will. So what percentage you would say that other men are like this?
Are like Will? Well, this is something that the 97%ers would do. Then this is what happens. I mean, you look at Hollywood, this is a lot of creative people. Creative people need feminine energy. This is men and women both. We all have masculine and feminine energy. It's just what essence is dominant. And so for creative people, it's feminine energy. Feminine energy grows through praise. And so, you got to put a lot of creative people together and they're influencing the culture. You have movies that anchor men and women to dysfunctional ways of being men and women that are opposed to their essence or opposed to the way the creator made them. Because women respond to what they respond to and men respond to what they respond to when it comes to sexual polarity and attraction. And when that's out of balance, shit is fucked up. Wars, crime, all that stuff, bad things happening is a result of a lack of masculinity, a lack of safety in the environment. Life fills voids. And if there's a lack of masculinity, then you get toxic femininity or feminism, if you will, which has just gone, completely off the rails. Where now it's just any display of masculinity is labeled toxic masculinity to try to get men to shrink from their responsibility in society. And displaying the kind of behavior that Will Smith has displayed is further perpetuation of that. So she's right, but she's right from the perspective that Will Smith ain't showing up and being the man that he's capable of being. But this is not stuff that they teach in school. And obviously he didn't learn it in his household growing up. I know I didn't learn it in mine. Obviously, I think you guys had a little bit more of that in your household than I did. That's why you guys kind of turned out a little more balanced, or some of you anyways.
Well, balance is a good word too in a relationship because, we're so focused on right now talking about the man and our role of protection and provision. And, there is a balance in that relationship that at the same time, it's not that we're weak, we're sensitive to it. My wife has input and will influence me in the sense that I'll hear it if it makes sense. It's my job to listen and pay attention. Ultimately, it comes down to what am I going to do about it? And am I going to, bow down to what she says or listen to it? And if it has merit, completely respect it and make the right decision based on that. So there's a balance in the relationship that happens. A man is not, always, no, I'm the final say in it. I don't even need to hear from you.
Dictator.
I don't need to hear from you. What can you possibly tell me that I don't already know? It's a balance in the relationship. And because we are wired that way, because we are the protectors and the providers and a little harder and stuff, it's nice to have input to where we can say, okay, well, I hear you. And let me, but merely go on a facial expression, I think that's a pretty funny joke. And then look over and say, oh, you're not happy? I'll do something right about that right now without even thinking about and process. That's not a man. That's not what a man does.
That's a little boy. That's a little 8-year-old that grew up with a lack of masculinity in his own home. Balanced masculinity, I should say. Because masculinity is dangerous, but kind. Not just nice. Because nice is phony. It's inauthentic. It's an unwillingness to stand up for oneself.
It's aware. It's aware of our surroundings. It's aware of what's going on. It's a sensitivity. It's a sensitivity to the emotional aspect of our significant other that balances us. because we're kind of operating more in that logic plane.
Yep.
So let me be sensitive, because quite frankly, that emotional, the emotion is kind of turned down in me naturally. I'm less sensitive to it. I'm less aware of it. So I logically should hear and pay attention, but not necessarily be emotionally moved by it. Sensitive to.
True. Well, ladies, what do you think? Jocelyne, you're sitting there with your arms crossed, protecting your emotional core.
It's an interesting. Well, let's go a little further on this, because it is an interesting place.
What are you thinking? You got to participate. This is a podcast.
I mean, I agree with Amy Schumer.
You what?
I agree with Amy Schumer.
So from your perspective, it's obviously toxic masculinity. And why do you see it that way?
I think one of the things is that besides like Will's submissive behaviors, I also think he has a lot of repressed emotions as well, if that makes any sense.
Childhood trauma.
Yeah,
Unprocessed trauma.
Possibly that, and he feels that and maybe it just really snapped at that point, maybe. Or I mean,
he's not showing up as who he really is, and that's the problem. It's dying to get out, and that's how it comes out. It manifests as anger, because behind anger is always fear.
Yeah, basically that. I just didn't know how to explain it, but it was just that. Like he just has repressed emotions as well, probably.
Well, human beings, we all have two primary fears: fear that we're not enough. In other words, fear that we don't have what it takes, or fear that we won't be loved and accepted by our friends, our family, our peer group, our significant other. Everybody struggles with it.
With this, though, I think it's nice, her post, how she prefaced it with, I think we can all agree the best way to unpack here is to stream my series. Look how she prefaced the post.
It's deleted now.
Yeah, she deleted this post. I was trying to recover it on DuckDuckGo.
Now, why do you guys think she deleted it? Could be numerous reasons. Come off answering the questions why you think.
My take on it, there was not enough information. Some people reacted quickly without really processing what built up to this moment in time. And, Coach Corey Wayne, that's one of the reasons why I said I saw your video the next day, and I was pretty impressed, because it was really spot on. And it was almost like a first reaction video, which how can you possibly nail it on the first shot so early in it? There's a lot.
It's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, well, it was spot on. There's a lot of information that goes into this, and the backdrop of the humor that Chris Rock displayed, and the gentle way it was given in love, and if you have all the information, you say, okay, well, that was a pretty, badass movie that he referenced in which, who played G.I. Jane? She's hot, right?
Demi Moore.
So it was only
It
compliment.
was at like the prime of her career when she was the hottest. She looked amazing, and she shaved her head. So just the publicity she got from the most beautiful woman in the world shaving her head like that, it was everywhere, and so everybody had to go see the movie, and it did phenomenal.
So Chris Rock's humor was, no less than a compliment.
Yep.
I think we can all agree that the best way to unpack what happened is to stream my series. But for real, still triggered and traumatized. I love my friend at Chris Rock, and believe me, he handled it like a pro. Stayed up there, gave an Oscar to his friend at Questlove. And the whole thing was so disturbing. I'm Amy Schumer. Buy my stuff. So much pain at Will Smith. Anyway, I'm still in shock and sad. And there's just such a repetition of her emotions. No, I'm giving my honest feedback to it.